The Galactic Council's chamber fell silent as Ambassador Zethkar raised his crystalline appendage, the formal gesture that preceded declarations of the highest gravity. Around the vast circular hall, representatives from 47 species shifted in their environmental pods, their various forms of communication creating a symphony of clicks, hums, and bioluminescent flashes. "The matter before us today," Zethkar announced, his voice translated through quantum resonance into each species' native language, "concerns the humans of Sol 3. A ripple of attention swept through the assembly. The humans had been members of the Council for barely 2 standard cycles, newcomers in galactic terms, though they had spread across their local stellar neighborhood with remarkable speed. "Their expansion violates Protocol 7 Alpha," continued Zethkar, his 4 eyes focusing on the human delegation pod. "They have established colonies in 17 systems without proper terraforming licenses. They have refused to limit their population growth to sustainable Council-approved levels. Most egregiously, they have continued their primitive practice of consuming other biological entities for sustenance." Murmurs of agreement echoed from the Vegan Hegemony section, while the Crystalline Collective's representatives chimed in, harmonic discord. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood slowly in the human pod, her simple environmental suit a stark contrast to the elaborate biomechanical interfaces of her fellow delegates. She was a small woman by human standards, barely reaching 1.6 meters, with graying hair and laugh lines around her eyes that spoke of decades spent mediating conflicts. "Honored Council," she began, her voice carrying the slight accent of her Earth Asian heritage, "we acknowledge your concerns. However, we believe there may be some misunderstandings regarding human colonial practices." Zethkar's skin shifted to a deeper purple, a sign of irritation among his species. "There are no misunderstandings, Ambassador Chen. Your species has violated 17 distinct articles of the Galactic Colonization Accord. The Council demands immediate cessation of all unauthorized expansion and the implementation of population controls within 4 solar rotations." Sarah nodded thoughtfully. "And if we respectfully decline?" The chamber erupted. Translator systems struggled to keep pace with the cacophony of outraged responses. The militant caste of the Vortak Empire began their war chant, while the peaceful gardeners of Kepler 442b released clouds of distress pheromones. Zethkar slammed his crystalline appendage against the podium, creating a resonance that cut through the noise. "Then the Council will be forced to take action to protect galactic stability and ecological balance." "What kind of action?" Sarah asked, her tone remaining conversational. "Military intervention," Zethkar replied coldly. "The combined fleets of the Council species will quarantine the Sol system and forcibly relocate human populations to comply with galactic law." Sarah was quiet for a long moment, glancing back at her small delegation. Her military advisor, General Martinez, leaned forward to whisper something urgent in her ear. She nodded, then turned back to address the Council. "Before you proceed with this course of action," she said, "I have one question." "Speak," Zethkar commanded. Sarah looked around the chamber, making eye contact with as many delegates as possible. "Are you sure?" The simplicity of the question seemed to confuse the assembly. Zethkar's skin cycled through several color variations, purple confusion, shifting to orange irritation. "Are we sure?" he repeated. "Yes," Sarah said, clasping her hands behind her back. "Are you sure you want to declare war on humanity?" "This is not war," protested the delegate from the Pacifist Union. "This is law enforcement on a galactic scale." Sarah nodded slowly. "I see. General Martinez, would you please share the historical data we prepared?" The general stepped forward, activating a holographic display. Statistics began flowing across the chamber's central projection system. "In the past 400 years, Martinez began in a matter-of-fact tone, humanity has fought 247 armed conflicts on our home planet alone. We have developed 847 distinct methods of warfare, from individual combat to planetary bombardment. We have survived ice ages, asteroid impacts, supervolcanic eruptions, and multiple near-extinction events." The statistics continued rolling, Weapons yields, casualty figures, technological developments born from military necessity. Our current military consists of approximately 2 billion active personnel across 17 colonial systems. Martinez continued. We maintain fleets capable of rapid deployment using what you call primitive fusion and antimatter technologies. Our industrial capacity can convert civilian infrastructure to military production within weeks. Sarah stepped forward again. But here's what the numbers don't show, she said softly. Humans don't fight wars the way most species do. We don't have honor codes that prevent targeting command structures. We don't have religious prohibitions against certain weapons. We don't have genetic programming that limits our aggression. She paused, letting the translation systems catch up. When humans go to war, we fight to win. We study our enemies, adapt our tactics, and exploit every weakness. We fight with tools, with cunning, and when necessary, with our bare hands. We fight in zero gravity and crushing atmospheres. We fight when we're outnumbered, outgunned, and have no reasonable chance of victory. The chamber had grown progressively quieter as she spoke. Most importantly, Sarah continued, humans have one trait that seems to be uncommon in galactic civilization. We get angry. When someone threatens our families, our homes, our way of life, we don't just defend, we eliminate the threat permanently. Zethkar's skin had shifted to a pale, almost translucent shade. Are you threatening the council? Sarah smiled, and several delegates recoiled at the predatory expression. Not at all. I'm simply making sure you have all the information before you make your decision. She gestured to the statistical display, which now showed comparative military capabilities. The 47 species of this council command impressive fleets and advanced technologies. In a direct confrontation, you would almost certainly achieve victory against humanity's current forces. The militant caste representatives began to posture aggressively, but Sarah raised her hand. However, she continued, you should understand what that victory would cost. Humans don't surrender. We've never had a single war in our history where one side simply gave up when things looked hopeless. We fight until we're extinct, or until our enemies are. She walked closer to the central podium. Your victory would require the complete extermination of 8 billion humans across 18 star systems. Every colony ship that escapes will carry people who watched their families die, and they will spend the rest of their lives developing new ways to hurt you. The silence in the chamber was absolute now. But perhaps more relevantly, Sarah said, you should consider what humanity might accomplish if we were fighting for our survival rather than trying to be good galactic citizens. General Martinez activated another display. This one showed human technological development curves, with projections based on historical patterns during wartime. Human innovation accelerates exponentially under existential pressure, Sarah explained. The same species that split the atom was dropping fusion bombs within 4 years. The same species that achieved flight was in orbit within 60 years. Every major technological leap in human history has come from either curiosity or necessity, and necessity makes us very, very creative. She turned to address Zethkar directly. So I ask again, are you sure you want to declare war on humanity? Because once you do, we won't be the same species that applied for council membership. We'll be the species that discovered faster than light travel by studying your wreckage. We'll be the species that learned advanced genetics by reverse engineering your biology. We'll be the species that developed new weapons by asking ourselves, what would hurt them most? Sarah returned to the human delegation pod and sat down. The choice is yours, honored council. We came here seeking peaceful cooperation and mutual benefit. We're happy to continue on that path. But if you prefer the alternative, she shrugged, a gesture that somehow conveyed both resignation and anticipation. We're ready for that too. The council session was postponed indefinitely. 3 days later, humanity received a formal invitation to participate in the Galactic Colonization Committee's Policy Review Board. The invitation specifically requested human input on sustainable expansion practices and efficient resource utilization techniques. Ambassador Chen accepted graciously, though she couldn't help but smile when she noticed that the meeting was scheduled for a space station in neutral territory, rather than any council member's home system. After all, it never hurt to be careful when dealing with humans.